all dumb questions. Yeah, here we go. We are live. We are back. And yeah, I am going to be asking a whole lot of dumb questions today. And the reason I think mostly for this is that I love to learn about things that I don't really know. And I have been in the process of learning about the trucking industry a little bit over the last couple of months because we've been talking about it so much. Cody Morrison's been in here from Barry Area Development, and we have had this conversation many times about the trucking industry, the trades in general, where the industry is going, and the wheels are turning, pardon the pun, on this trucking industry, and they really are. GIROUX Transport, General Transport, is one of our new presenting sponsors, and we have Tracy and Bill Haynes with us right now. Welcome, guys. So glad to have you here, and thanks for being a sponsor.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us as part of your team.
How the heck are things going with you? We were just chatting a little bit off the air that, Tracy, your phone is ringing big time.
My phone is ringing nonstop, both with people, asking questions about, the class, the program, what we do. And then a lot of people are calling, do you have any students that are ready to get out of school, to graduate with, without any employment? And then we get tons of calls for all different things, but a lot of things are, how often do you run classes? If I can't make it into this one, can I make it into the next one?
Right.
How do people afford this?
Right.
There's lots and lots of questions that, come up every day.
Well, like I said, I'll be asking you some dumb ones today that both you can answer. But, Bill, you were just telling me before the show started that you guys tell me about the origins of when you got this company. You got a little bit of it and then just all of it not too long ago.
So we became partners of it in 2018. And then September of 2021, we bought out our partners, so we own it all together now.
Wow. That's it.
That's it.
And has it been insane ever since?
It is crazy busy right now.
What happened? And both of you can answer this, and feel free to cut me off, cut each other off, as I'm sure you do at home. Anyway, but tell me what happened at the onset of COVID with GIROUX General Transport. Did your phone just stop ringing for a couple of months?
Well, the phone didn't stop ringing. However, we did have to shut down for 3 months. The governor did shut us down for a while, and that really, put everything on hold. We didn't know when we were going to be released to go back to work. So therefore, the lists of people wanting drivers kind of backed up and then kind of stayed still. We couldn't do anything with it. And then when he finally did release us to go back, it was slow picking up those students because they'd either, moved on, thought of something else, or, a lot of times it was, well, I'm not ready to go back to work yet.
Yeah.
But now, after, we're back to our regular program, the phones have been calling and the classes have been filling right up to capacity.
I bet. And you've already filled your March 7th class,
yes,
right?
Our March 7th roster is full, and we have people on a wait list that if anybody backs out, they want to be put in their place.
Wow. And the latest one just started this month, right? January 9th, 6th, something like that?
Yep, January 7th, wasn't it?
January 7th, yeah. And they'll start testing the middle of February. So they got they got about 2.5 more weeks.
Wow.
We run classes about every 6 to 7 weeks year round.
Okay.
All year round. That's our one thing we have going for us is repetition. We hold these classes repetitively all year long.
We've already got questions coming in. Can you explain the impact to Vermont companies of the implementation of the new CDL training rules and the more strict Vermont rules in regards to ELDT. Teach me. What are they talking about?
So
here?
ELD training
Break this question down here for old JD here.
It's entry-level driver training.
Okay.
As of February 7th, everybody that gets a CDL will be required to go through a school, somebody that's certified through the federal government.
You told me that when I saw you last.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in actuality, the rules for the ELDT training is less than what we're required to do by the state of Vermont. So as us, a school, it does not change what we do, but somebody off the street can't go take a truck and do their own road test without going through a school.
And that's effective when?
February 7th.
February 7th.
Yes. Coming right up
Like, yeah,
next week.
6 days after
Yeah.
today.
Yes.
So what does that mean for the March students?
It doesn't affect anything we do as a school.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Because
not
the standards are
affecting us.
lower than what we have to follow for the state of Vermont.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's not affecting how we're running school, but how things had been done in the past is that employers would hire somebody with a CDL to train other people who don't have a CDL and then go out privately and get a permit
Yeah.
and test them on their own.
Right.
The government is saying no more. You're not doing that. They have to go through a school. And Vermont's CDL training school requirements are way higher than what the federal motor carriers are.
Yeah.
So it's not changing our
Right.
routine and our perspective.
Yeah.
How it's changing businesses, though, and how it's affecting our local businesses is we're finding out that we have to partner up. So we've partnered up with Pepsi Cola. We've partnered up with Casella. We've partnered up with RK Miles, Upper Valley Produce, and a lot of the town garages have all called on us and said, can we send our drivers to you for training because we're no longer able to do this as of this month. So that
Wow.
that impacts our students too. How many we can put in a class, and versus how many we're going to have open to the public, versus how many are spoken for by individual companies that have said, I need to send you this many drivers this month. So that's why our classes are filling up extremely quickly.
Wow. If you're just joining us, Bill and Tracy Haynes, GIROUX General Transport, Vermont requiring more strict application of the new rules. Terry just posted here a second ago, which I think is...
Yeah, I mean, the federal government's enforcing it. Vermont just has to follow it.
Yeah.
What the idea of the ELDT training was is to raise the quality of a beginning driver. Mm-hmm. So somebody with very little knowledge to somebody that is ready to be employable.
Yeah, right. So that's remarkable that you have businesses calling you saying, we need drivers. Mm-hmm. When can you get us drivers?
Yeah, and it's regular. I mean, it's not daily maybe, but probably 4 or 5 times a week I'm getting a company calling and asking me questions about partnerships and what can you offer us and what can we do if we go through you and we decide that we're going to only go through you. What kind of a deal can you partner up with us?
And what are you saying?
Well, sometimes if it's 4 or more students, I'll give you $500 off per student if you send me a group of 4 or more.
Yeah.
We can even open a private class if you send us 4 to 6 students.
Right.
All at the same time.
Sure.
We can open up hours of our day and give you a private class to get your students through at a reasonable time.
Isn't that something?
So we're working with a lot of our local companies trying to get people driving again.
You must be on the phone. I can't even imagine.
I am on the phone. Actually, I even had people calling me 9 o'clock last night asking me how to fill out a VSAT grant. 9 o'clock last night. I was still answering phone calls for people.
And you got your cell phone on mute right now so that you can pull off this podcast. Wow. That is I mean, no surprise here. I mean, look, we've been talking about, especially Cody and I have been talking about the supply chain and just everything. And getting things unloaded off, in our ports, and not just California, but everywhere. Is getting stuff unloaded is one thing. Moving that stuff is a whole nother issue. And I mean, out west especially, I'm seeing some of these trucking industry experts saying that they're, in some cases, paying upwards of $12,000 a week.
Yes. They're needed so badly all over the place. The money in trucking right now is ridiculous.
So here in Vermont, what are we talking per hour for a starting driver? 25 an hour up?
Yeah, mid 20s to low 30s generally.
Okay. What about experienced driver?
Some companies require a minimum amount of drive time, but a lot of companies are waiving that right now because of the shortage of drivers. There is such a shortage right now for truck drivers that companies are calling me saying, do you have any students ready to graduate? Because I need somebody ASAP.
They got stuff sitting there.
Yes, they have trucks with no drivers.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's over the road or fuel delivery companies or trash companies. Everybody
is short.
Wow. Questions coming in: is tuition a barrier for students looking to enroll? I'm sure you get that question all the time.
I do.
Or just the notion that, well, I can't afford my CDL.
That's what I'm getting on a regular basis. A Class A CDL is $5,900, and a Class B is $3,900. People see those prices, and they go, I can't afford that. But there is so many grants out there right now.
State, federal?
Both.
Okay.
So where I normally send people is vsac.org. They have an advancement grant that will cover up to 75% of an A and up to $3,000 of a B. So there's a huge chunk right off the bat. Right off the bat. And then Agency of Transportation.
That's right. Bill was telling me about this.
Has a grant for $1,500 for women and minorities.
Yeah.
That is automatic. There's no income levels there. Okay?
Automatic.
So automatic.
Yep.
For women and minorities, an instant $1,500 to take the course. Okay? So there's two grants. Department of Labor.
That's right. Bill told me about this one too.
Department of Labor, which is your local unemployment office.
Right.
They also have grant money made for adult education programs. And if you're income eligible, they can pay up to the rest of the course. And anybody who needs, me to point them in the right direction, feel free to blow up my phone. They can call me, and I can give them any contact information that I have for any of those.
This is amazing. So you could definitely, if you were to invest some time into some of these applications, most of which you can do online.
Correct.
You could get out of this for a couple $100
or less.
Or
most of our students
nothing.
have full funding.
Yeah.
Most all of our students are fully funded.
Wow. Do you anticipate raising tuition as ELDT becomes mandatory?
Not at this moment. We are not talking about changing our rates at all.
All right. Cody just wrote, the Vermont training program might be able to help if training is through a company. The state may pay up to 50% for training for a company.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that, but that could be.
Okay.
Right now we have some employers who are just sending their students and saying, we will pay for their training because we need drivers that badly. So a lot of people, if you're thinking about driving for a specific company or you want a specific job, it's no harm in reaching out to that employer and saying,
right,
I'd be willing to work for you for 2-3 years if you're willing to pay for my CDL. And a lot of employers are doing that right now. They're sending us people right off the street that have a regular Vermont driver's license and saying, please train these guys for us.
I mean, the American Trucking Association, as of 2019, and I posted this yesterday, 2019, United States already was short about 60,000 truck drivers, and by the year 2023, which will go by quickly, we're going to be upwards of around negative 100,000 truck drivers in America. So we're not we're going to go backwards here, at least for another year or two.
Yeah, and it takes.
This is
going
to take a long time.
Yeah, it'll take a long time
years to fix the problem.
Yeah, to get everything back on track.
The trucking industry moves 75% of total freight across the country. 75%.
Yes.
So
all across the United States, they
right.
are short on drivers, and we're getting, like I said, we get calls all the time. Werner Brothers contacts us all the time, and they're like, Werner wants to send us. She calls me from Texas and says, "Do you have anybody going through your course that might want an application? I'm sending you some in the mail." So, I mean, we get people from all over the country that are looking for drivers.
So what's the deal now in Vermont? You're 18, you graduate, you get your CDL. What's the deal? I think you have to stay put in the state.
Currently, you cannot leave the state of Vermont until you're 21.
Yes.
They have explored changing that to 18, but as of yet, they have not actually done it.
What are you hearing about that 18? Are you hearing any rumblings? Is there any discussions going on about that?
I think most of it is just they want them to have a little more experience under their belt. Mm-hmm. So if you get your license at 18 and you stay local, then you have a really good chance that when you're 21 years old, getting a very high-paying job.
Sure, and you're probably already, over those couple of years, you're going to be making bank anyways.
Oh, yeah, you'll be making way more than minimum wage, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking, $25, $30 an hour to start on most.
Just to start.
Yeah, just to start, with a sign-on bonus on most companies.
As an 18-year-old.
As an 18-year-old, especially people who are looking for like fuel drivers or milk delivery or, things like that where even the trash companies.
Right.
Everybody is looking for drivers right now.
What about upgrading to your CDL from school bus, hazmat, all that kind of stuff?
So we do not do school bus. Usually the busing companies train their own people.
Okay.
With the ELDT training, somebody that's never had a hazmat before has to come to school to get a hazmat training.
Yeah.
It's just classroom stuff. It takes about 15 hours, and then they can go apply for a hazmat.
Wow. The thing that's remarkable about you both is how much you're working with businesses here in the state, and as you just said, Tracy, outside of the state too. But the demand is so high, and we've got so many businesses that are kind of, frankly,
on the
relying on you guys.
Yeah, we have a lot of companies that have called us saying we really need drivers. If we don't get some drivers, we're going to have to shut down. And I hate to see small little Vermont companies struggling.
Yeah.
And so we have sent out flyers to many of the Vermont local Central Vermont trucking companies, telling them that if they find somebody that's reliable, hireable, and somebody that they trust that they want to train, and they send them to us, we're willing to do it for you and give you a discount at it.
Wow.
Hoping to get some of the Vermont revenue going again and getting our local companies thriving again.
And if they say they can send you, I think you said, was it
four or more? I would
more.
love to do a private class.
A private CDL class.
Yes.
Yep. The hours that fit their schedules.
Customized.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So generally, they run 6 to 7 weeks, starting at 4 in the afternoon.
Most of the time, our classes are 4 to 9 p.m.
Okay.
A couple times a year, we do daytime classes, but that's not our norm. Our norm is 4 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. If it's storming or if the weather is crappy and we have to, close down for the day, then there may be makeup hours on a Saturday.
Right.
But we try not to work weekends. But it happens we got a storm coming up the end of the week. I'm sure we'll have to shut down a day or two.
And the reason why we do 4 to 9 is so people can take the class after they get out of work.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why we do the evening stuff.
assuming that you have, if you're working a 9 to 5, that you got a boss that's going to cut you some slack and let you do something great in your life.
Right.
Absolutely.
We get a lot of people that are hired by towns, and they're working, 7 to 3, 7 to 3:30, and then they come to school in the evenings.
Yeah.
To get their CDL training so that they can continue their job and they don't have to be, on the end of a shovel.
Right. Sure. And you guys are willing to work with the employer and do like a 8 to 1 type thing.
Correct.
Yeah, 8 to 1, 11 to 4, whatever works for their schedule.
Where's the classrooms for GIROUX?
So our primary classroom is 3472 Airport Road in Berlin, behind the Hilltop Inn.
Behind the Hilltop.
Yeah. We share the parking lot with the Hilltop Inn,
Okay.
which is located across the intersection from Central Vermont Medical Center.
Yeah.
And if you drive around the backside of the hotel, we share that parking lot, and then you'll see our classroom and our corded off area where the trucks are constantly backing and docking and coupling and uncoupling and going through their practices, their pre-tripping. There's multiple things going on at the same time.
Is it a lot of what is the bulk of it? Is it textbook? Is there homework that you have to go home with?
So the first 2 weeks, there's about 25 hours of classroom involved in the program.
How many nights a week?
It's 5 nights a week, 5 hours a night.
nights a week.
5 nights a week.
All right. How much homework?
Well, there's homework for about 5 nights. So there's classroom 25 hours of the program.
Okay.
And then the rest of the program is hands-on, broken down between pre-tripping, backing, and driving, with a Class A getting a minimum of 16 hours of behind-the-wheel driving time.
Yeah. Where do you do this? Which parking lot do you get behind the wheel and start
Oh, we drive on the road.
moving? You just get going.
Yeah, we don't drive in the parking lot at all. It's all done out on the road.
Damn! Now I'm nervous.
You see our trucks go by here all the time. They go right through Main Street.
Wow.
You don't even pay attention to us.
I guess I don't. I guess I don't. But with backing up and all that stuff. I mean, where's your big parking lot?
It's right there where the class is, behind the Hilltop Inn.
Right there.
Right behind the Hilltop, yep. There's a corded off area where regular vehicles cannot go. And that corded off area is got cones set up, and it's designated for each thing.
Okay. So March 7th, the class starting March 7th is already full.
It's already full.
Wow. So
Yeah.
then what? You have a wait list for.
We do have a wait list of other. I have, I think, 3 people on there right now that are waiting to see if somebody else drops out of that class or can't find the time or whatever, so that if someone drops out, they will go into that slot.
Okay.
If they don't get a slot, then they will be moved to the April 18th class.
April 18th.
April 18th.
Are we already filling up for that?
I've already got about 6, I think, for April class. So yeah, it's filling up pretty quickly.
What's the limit?
I try to stay 10 or under.
10 or less.
10 or less, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I try to have a maximum of 10 in each group.
Maximum of 10 keeps us in the ratio of 2 instructors to 10 students.
There you go. So let's talk about instructors. How many instructors do you have?
Currently, we have 4 instructors.
How many do you need?
Probably another 3.
Yeah,
How do you get them? Where do you find them?
they're hard to come by.
What's the deal with that? These
to
are
find
people.
somebody with the right personality, skill set, and the availability to do it is a hard combination.
That's it.
So it's usually easier to find somebody that you've already trained
Yeah.
than to try to find somebody that has come from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right.
But they're hard to come by. I've looked for 3 years to find somebody new and just can't do it.
Finding someone with a lot of patience.
Yeah.
Patience is key
Patience
when
is
you're
hard,
a driving instructor.
Sure.
And
Well, especially if they'd have to deal with somebody like me.
We would have a lot of fun.
we would.
You don't want me to be a truck driver. Trust me.
We might have to put some pegs on the pedals or something,
They've already been making fun of me about zip tying 2x4s to the gas pedal and the phone books underneath,
Mm-hmm.
But so how do you find? I mean, how do we find more? I mean, if you were to find more, you'd be able to grow.
Certainly.
even more.
Absolutely. If we could find the right people with the right personality and the time and availability to be able to commit
Right.
to that much instructing 5 nights a week,
Sure.
would absolutely be willing to talk about it. And we've even trained some instructors before where we've put them through our training
Yeah.
and then we sent them to do their instructors
Right.
training. And so that's a definite possibility.
And I asked Bill before the cameras went on, what about trying to find instructors from out of state? But very complicated because
It is. I mean, they got to get a Vermont state license, a regular CDL.
Sure, right.
And then they got to get a Vermont instructor's license.
Yeah.
They don't transfer state to state.
Right.
The instructor's part doesn't.
Do you think they should?
I think each state's laws are a little too
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
The CDLs can transfer just fine, but the instructor's license, there's so many different requirements states to state that it would be hard to
would be
transfer
hard.
them.
Yeah. Are you guys in touch with other driving schools around the state saying, oh my God, who's pulled out more hair out of their head?
Generally, the driving schools really don't talk to each other.
Okay.
There may be a few, and every once in a while, the guy in Rockingham will call me with a question, but we don't sit down and chat that often.
Yeah, not very often.
Wow. More questions here. Terry saying there's a discussion federally to allow 18-year-olds to operate interstate, crossing the state line. Hearing anything about that?
I have not.
It has been in conversation until the federal motor carriers okays it.
Yeah. Yeah. Does trouble finding housing ever prevent out-of-state applicants from enrolling? Cody sending that question.
I don't think I've
That's
ever
a great
heard of.
question.
I don't think I've ever heard of that because
Just
normally
living
our
in the
students are
truck.
local people anyway.
Yeah.
Right. They have to hold a current Vermont driver's license
Sure.
to obtain a CDL permit.
Right.
So if they're coming from out of state, they have to transfer their license to Vermont,
Sure.
which shows a place of residence.
Yeah.
When you transfer your license, you have to show DMV a place of residence.
Right.
So that hasn't really been a thing. We have had some people come from like way down by our southern borders and way up by our northern borders who have been like, I can't drive back and forth every day, but I want to come to your school.
Yeah.
So they have gone to Department of Labor and said to them, this is what my struggle is. And Department of Labor and Voc Rehab have set them up in a hotel room right there at the Hilltop Inn while they are in the 6-week training program.
Wow.
So they're seriously just able to walk across the parking lot
Yeah.
to attend.
I want to ask you guys a question, and we don't have to hang out on the subject too long if you don't want, but it's one that I want to ask you, and it's one that I've heard from my peers and folks in passing, wondering if there ever will be or if there ever should be a little bit of loosening up when it comes to CBD usage. I know there's a 0% tolerance right now, and I know a lot of these CBD products, whether they be topical or otherwise, are up to, I think it's 0.3 or 0.03 THC, which is kind of a par for the course. That's how it is.
The problem with loosening that up is how would they determine what is what in a drug test? It still shows up in their drug test
Good point.
as an illegal substance.
Sure. Yeah.
It doesn't show up as, oh, well, this is CBD versus this is marijuana versus this is this or
Yeah.
this is
Yeah,
this.
THC is THC.
Yeah, that's right.
It shows up
That's right.
illegal substance in their system. There's no way of splitting that hair.
Yeah.
So should the guidelines be let up? No, because then someone who is inebriated is going to be driving a tractor trailer down the road.
Bingo. Great answer. Great answer. There's just been a little bit of frustration with regard to that. This is something that's up and coming. That whole industry is pain management and inflammation and all that stuff. And there's some frustrated folks out there. I know a guy who was turned down from Land O'Lakes for this very reason. And I mean, he was just using a tiny little bit of topical CBD on some arthritis. Doesn't smoke.
Yep.
Frustrated.
We have
Certainly
had
CBD oil has its place, and it's great for a lot of things.
Yeah.
But unfortunately,
As long as you don't want to have your CDL
you
license.
can't have a CDL and drive a truck, unfortunately.
I mean, if you've ever ridden in a tractor trailer truck, which we hope to get you in there, JD, we hope to
Would
get
love
you in
to.
one.
I've never been in one.
Oh, you've got to come up
Never
and ride
been
along.
in one.
You've got to.
I will. Sit right on Bill's lap.
You'll be able to see over the hood that way.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Anyways, if we can get you in there, you will see why we say that the strict guidelines
Sure.
for marijuana and all of that.
Yeah. You got to be
You've
sharp.
got to be right on top of it. Those trucks don't stop on a dime.
Yeah.
And people cut you off.
Yeah.
People walk out in the middle of in front of you.
I'm
Let's jump on that crosswalk and let's just walk out in front of that tractor trailer truck.
Amazing.
I rode to Milton for my very first time in a tractor trailer truck with Bill.
Mm-hmm.
And I was clutching the dash going,
Really?
how do you do this? And he said, oh, you get used to it. But for me, it was quite an eye-opener.
Yeah.
And so now I'm on the phone with people. And one of the first things I tell my students when I sign them up, absolutely no marijuana use, no CBD oils or anything else that is going to show up in your drug screening. It's just too risky.
What about booze?
Absolutely no. You do that on your own time, not
Yeah.
before you get in a vehicle.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
you can obviously limit that. It
Yeah.
doesn't stay in your system like marijuana does.
Right. And the whole thing is the penalty for this isn't like like a temporary fine or you're suspended for a couple of months or whatever. You're done.
So if you fail a drug test, you have to go through drug counseling. Even if it's CBD oil, they don't care. You're going through drug counseling, and it takes 6 months to a year before you can apply for it. And it's always going to be on your record that you failed a drug test, and people won't hire you.
Yep, you'll be unable to find a job if you fail that drug test.
Wow. Not worth it.
Not worth it.
Not at all.
Not worth it. What about lifestyle? For a lot of the younger crowd that is, and I think the average age of a truck driver in America, according to the American Trucking Association, is 55. But for the younger crowd coming in, we're going to talk about that because there's a whole hell of a lot of controversy about that alone. But just from a lifestyle standpoint, you're 18, you're 20, you're 25, whatever. Wife, girlfriend, or boyfriend, husband, maybe a child, maybe not. You're really committing your life to not just the hours that you're behind the wheel, but you're committing your whole lifestyle to this. It is your job,
Yeah.
but it's also your home too. For
Correct.
many
Over the
cases.
road, yes.
Over the road, yes, right.
There's certainly hundreds
right.
and hundreds of local jobs.
True.
Which,
We
going
get
through
to-
us, they have the flexibility to go there.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
like you said, a lifestyle. This is a lifestyle.
Right.
You are committing yourself to not hanging with the marijuana smoking group and inhaling all of their
Yeah.
exhale. You're committing yourself to not partying and getting DUIs.
Yeah.
You're committing yourself to a responsible behavior,
Right.
which means, you want to drink, stay home.
Yeah.
I mean, do we have a beer? Yeah, once in a while we have
Yeah.
a beer.
Right.
But we don't go out and drive afterwards.
Right. Sure.
And that, this is definitely something that if you want a CDL license, you're going to have to stay in their guidelines to keep it.
Yeah. And take this lifestyle very seriously, embrace it. And that includes things like taking care of yourself, trying to eat right, trying to get a little bit of exercise when and where you can, but also getting the right amount of sleep. And you got to be, like you said, you got to be sharp. Forget about the drugs. Forget about the booze. Sleep alone can be just as much of an impairment.
Yep.
Absolutely. And they need a typical driver to follow the hours of service ruling needs 10 hours off between shifts. You can't work at all for 10 hours. You need to be home resting.
Have to.
Have to.
Have to.
There are logbooks that you have to fill out saying when you're behind the wheel and how long you were behind the wheel and all of that.
Right.
And you have got to have 10 hours of downtime in between.
Yeah. It's fascinating to me when I think of, Smokey and the Bandit and back in the 70s and whatnot. But it's fascinating that the technology and the GPS tracking, or whatever the hell it is, that you guys know where these trucks, the industry knows where their trucks are.
Absolutely.
And they know how many hours they've been moving.
Idle. Yep.
Yeah, they know
No
where
cheating.
They know where they are in their hours of service. They know how fast you're going, whether you're wearing a seatbelt.
How fast?
How fast
Yes.
you're
They
going.
got that too.
A lot of the GPS have speedometers on them.
Seatbelt.
Seatbelt. They know whether
Seatbelt.
your seatbelt's fastened.
Is there
or
a
not.
camera in there too? If I'm picking my
a lot
nose,
of the trucks will have a forward-facing and an in-cab camera, so they know what you're doing in there.
if I'm picking my nose.
They can see if
Absolutely.
you're picking up your phone to make a phone call.
What? Wow.
Yeah.
Is there anything in the trucks that kills the cell phone signal that we
to
know
my
of?
knowledge.
Not that I know of.
Wow. Wow. I can't imagine looking on your phone, let alone talking on a phone. I can't imagine.
I can't either. I've ridden with him, and I sit in the passenger seat, and if I have to tell you, it's completely overwhelming the first couple of times you've ever ridden in a tractor trailer. You're looking down on everybody.
Yeah, right.
So you feel like there's not enough space between
Right.
you and the person in front of you.
Right, exactly. And then, throw some snow in the mix and maybe a
Snow.
downpour of some heavy
Snow
rain.
and darkness, because a lot of our training is after dark.
Yep.
Forget it.
Yep.
It's intimidating.
It is.
It is.
And your kids climb up in the truck and
Oh,
and
absolutely.
drive with.
Our kids love to ride in the trucks.
Absolutely.
All kids love to be in the trucks.
Are they working on any clutch work or anything like that?
Not yet.
No, not
Not
They
yet.
probably think they could, but
How
not
many
yet.
how many gears does it? It's not like 12 gears or something.
It depends. Most of our trucks are 13 speeds, but you can get a 10 speed, 13, 18.
Is there a digital readout that shows me that I'm in 7th gear right now?
No.
No.
What?
You got to know it.
You gotta know where you are.
What? Oh. So can you go from like 7 to 1?
No.
You can't.
No.
No. It's
Wow.
not gonna work. The only way you're gonna be able to do that is if you stop first.
You gotta. I want to see. I want to see this. I want to do this. I don't want to do it. I just want to be in the passenger seat.
Sure.
That's
Anytime.
fascinating, dude. What's this restriction removal training? What is that?
Okay, so some people have gotten their license on automatic, say. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That gives them an automatic restriction, which means they cannot drive a manual shift vehicle.
Understand?
So to remove that, they need to be trained on a manual shift vehicle and then test on one to remove it.
Okay.
Same with like if somebody was to test with like a bumper pull trailer or spindle hitch. If they ever wanted
The
to
hell's that?
like
What,
like an
hitch?
equipment trailer, spindle hitch.
Pindle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if they will ever want to pull a fifth wheel, they would have to be retested on a fifth wheel.
Wow.
There's a lot more to it.
Jeez, this yeah. So you're glad, Tracy, that you're answering the phone calls, you're doing the internet, you're doing the behind the
Yes.
desk stuff.
Yes. That's where I'm comfortable. I'm
Yeah.
comfortable answering anybody's questions, helping
Right.
them out, trying to point them in the right direction for funding, getting them put on rosters, dealing with all of the, attendance sheets that have to be sent into the state and all of the paperwork that has to be done for the school. And I leave all of the instructing to him.
I'm hearing that out west the demand is higher than anywhere, and maybe that's because of the Pacific Coast. I don't know, but And I know California is red hot right now in need of drivers, all everywhere out west. But are there any states or any regions that you guys are hearing about where the demand is higher than others?
No, just everybody talks about California, but everybody else is pretty
I
quiet.
think it's nationwide.
Yeah, the standard is nationwide that everybody needs drivers, but California is worse.
Yeah. That's a huge hub coming into there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys are watching and listening to the news and what's happening with our ports and with distribution and staffing shortages and everything. Being the owner of a business and you have your trucks moving, you're fortunate enough to have drivers, have vehicles, be moving, transporting these goods. But it's another thing to have your truck back up to a warehouse or whatever and not have a staff there to unload it
Right.
and get your stuff out so that you can get back on the road and go to your next.
Absolutely. People are short everywhere for employees for many different positions, but I'm going to tell you that I know more about the trucking shortage than I do any of the others. And I'm getting calls on a regular basis. People are like, I really need a driver. My driver has COVID, or my driver's out sick, or I just had somebody quit. I've got trucks sitting here.
Yeah.
They have nobody to drive them.
I was saying earlier, American Trucking Association saying the average age of a truck driver, 55 years old, and that many are retiring. They're retiring.
I'm finding some that's the case sometimes, but we have students, 65, still coming to class.
50s and 60s coming to class to get a license to start a career.
Because they want to spend their retirement driving over the road.
That's cool. I like that's
if
cool.
you're in good health, it doesn't really matter
Right.
your age. If you can pass that DOT physical, that's the main thing.
Yeah. The ATA is saying that they're going to need to hire over 1 million new drivers in the next 10 years. 1 million.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Isn't it?
It's just
Insane.
It really is.
It is.
It really is. What about a little bit of the controversy of the younger drivers? I posted up something, I don't know, a month ago or two that ticked off a few people that I think maybe misunderstood what it was that I was trying to say. What I was trying to say is, when I personally was 18, 19, 20 years old, I just wasn't mature enough to take on this kind of responsibility. To drive an 80-ton or whatever it is,
80,000
missile,
pound, yeah.
80,000 pound missile.
I think if you
company.
have that fever, the truck fever, or the big rig fever,
Yeah.
you're going to commit. We have a lot of students that come through, and they're like, they take the large construction courses at, like, say, Riverbend. We partner up with Riverbend in Bradford about once a year, and we do a training for them. And a lot of their students are 18, 19, 20-year-old students that have already been through their large equipment courses, and they want to do this course so that they can add their CDL to their other achievements.
Yeah.
I think if you really have it that this is what you want to do, it's just like saying, I want to be a doctor. Are you going to go to college?
Sure.
And this is a training that's going to improve your life and get you a much higher paying job
Out of the chute.
without having to go into debt for college loans.
Damn straight. Yeah, absolutely. That's so true.
even if there wasn't grant funding, you take a $5,900 loan or whatever,
A personal loan. We have
Yeah.
had a couple of people take personal loans out
You'll
from
get
their
that-
bank.
you'll
and then
get-
turn around and make
Yeah.
60
Right.
to 75,000 a year.
Right. You'll get it paid off well.
Yes,
And it's going to do nothing but boost your credit.
absolutely.
You'll get it paid off
Absolutely.
Yep.
quickly. Wow.
So there's so many different ways of, getting into the program and paying for the program. People are always asking, well, how do people really afford this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well,
a
this is
CDL
how.
is like 10 grand, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I hear that a lot. And I'm like, no, back up.
Right.
Back up. Yeah, Class A is $5,900, Class B, $3,900. And there's so many grants out there right now that a grant is money you don't have to pay back.
Right.
And the worst they're going to
Especially
say
now.
is no. It's not going to affect your credit score. It's not going to go against you in any way. What harm is it to apply?
Right.
It's 15 minutes out of your life.
Yeah.
And then you could very well get the entire course paid for.
Sure. And in worst case scenario, maybe a couple of hours
Correct.
out of your life of
I mean,
filling
yeah.
out some applications.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. And it definitely will be a life changer. You get your CDL and job opportunities open up to you.
Yeah. And you might be able to get a car that you can pay for outright, or throw a 20% building loan down on a piece of property, on a house, and comfortably
Yeah.
buy a house outright. Maybe
Absolutely.
It's not
put a huge chunk down. I mean,
yeah. There's just so many people out there right now that are saying, hey, I'll give you 5,000, 7,000 sign-on bonus on top of $25, $30 an hour if you come to work for me.
Wow.
A Class A CDL people are grabbing them up like crazy.
And you said the companies that you said that you guys are in touch with here frequently, Casella, Upper Valley Produce, Pepsi.
RK Miles.
Keep going.
Those are the main ones, I think, right
Okay.
now that we've partnered up with
Yeah, there's-
recently since this new standards are coming in February.
There's some municipalities too. But
Yeah.
Berry City, Berlin, Calais.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
So there's a lot of the the towns have said, I have somebody, I'll send them over to you, and that's great. And they're we take them in, we give them the same deal we give all of the other small businesses. It helps out our community, gets drivers.
So March 7th, classes beginning March 7th over at GIROUX General Transport are full.
Correct.
The next class starts April 18th.
And it'll be a Monday through Friday, 4 to 9 p.m.
And we've got like maybe four spots left in that.
Yeah, there's about 4 or 5 spots left in that class.
Okay.
And like I said, any company who has drivers that are people they need trained,
Yep.
feel free to reach out and we'll see what we can do to get them in for you.
What about after April 18th?
We run them about every 6 to 7 weeks.
so the next one after April should be June 1st.
Okay. Okay. Definitely in June, though.
Yeah, it's the first week of June.
Okay. This is fascinating to learn this kind of stuff from you guys.
This company has been training CDL drivers since 2000.
Wow.
So it's
22
been here
years.
in the central Vermont area training drivers since 2000.
Wow.
We have
And
a whole fleet of trucks that come through here on a regular basis.
who was it? Was it Michael?
Michael GIROUX founded the company. Back
Is
in
he still with
2000.
us?
He's still in Barrie.
Okay.
He is no longer part of the company. He sold it outright to us.
Yeah.
Him and his wife still live right here in Barrie. Still local people.
And you're in touch with them? You still in touch with them?
We talk to them, here and there, but not on a regular basis. They've fully retired.
They know that you guys are slam dunked right now.
Yes.
They've got to.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And every once in a while, we'll see, them come up and circle the parking lot of the hotel to check on us and see that the trucks are still running and going. And,
Wow.
and it's kind of nice and kind of reassuring to know that, It was started right here in Barry, and we're still right here in Barry.
Wow. And Bill, before we close out here, and you're doing all of this at the same time with the fire department, and you're just a busy dude.
Very busy. I mean,
What do
I
you
usually teach 10 hours a day in between 24-hour shifts at the fire department. I'm very busy.
Ouch.
Keeps me out of trouble.
You guys are still married.
Yes. We have 3 children at home that we're homeschooling as well.
Not really sure how you're doing that. That's
Just make it work.
That's remarkable.
It's called dedication.
Whew. You got to have a little bit more than just dedication, though, with something like that. My God. I mean, they're making noise in the background when you're on the phone.
No, they know when the phone rings, it's quiet time.
Well, maybe you could teach Lily that. That would be nice. Yeah.
We also have our own beef farm. So we have
That's right.
a farm at home as well.
Yeah, Bill and I are making plans to get Lily over there to see all the ducks and the goats and the chickens and the rabbits and all that stuff.
Yeah, we have our own little homestead going on. Keeps the kids
That's
really
so
busy.
cool. That's so cool. I love it. Thank you both so much. Are we forgetting anything? Is there anything else that we should put out there?
You know, they can come and check out our website.
Yeah.
And they can come check us out on Facebook. And feel free to reach out and call us at all, anytime, day or night. I usually answer the phone. If I don't answer the phone, it's because I'm either on the other line with someone else or
Yeah.
I'm at a road test or something and can't answer it. But if they leave
Okay.
me a message, I call them back and answer as many questions as I can.
And we just dropped the link here to the Facebook page, which is at GIROUX General Transport. And the website again?
cdlschoolinvermont.com.
cdlschoolinvermont.com.
Super easy.
You guys are doing a great work. Great work.
Thank you.
And we're lucky to have you. And I know there's several businesses that are watching, listening, saying, yeah, how many drivers can you send my way? I'm sure. We wish you the best of luck. And
Thank you.
I hope we can get you back in here as we get into some warmer weather. And
We'll get you in the truck in warmer weather.
please, can we do that? Really?
Yeah, you can go for a ride.
Absolutely. And we have our own little toy hauler.
Oh, you do?
So you can definitely ride in one of those if you want.
All right. You get do you have one that's got the king size bed in the back with the disco
have-
lights and
Well, we don't have the disco lights,
the
but we
hot
have
tub?
the bunk beds and we have the refrigerator and all of the fun stuff
Can
in
you
there.
stand
the
up in
TV.
there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
You can stand up in any of them.
I
really.
can stand up anywhere without hitting my head. I know. A hot tub? Yeah, hot
No.
tub.
Oh,
no
no,
hot
not
tub.
yet.
Damn it. Thank you both so much for coming
Thanks
on
for
here.
having us.
Well, thanks for your time.
Love having you, man. This is great. Bill and Tracy Haynes from GIROUX General Transport this time around on Aired Out, one of our presenting sponsors, and we are so thrilled to have them, along with the Cornerstone Restaurant, Emsley's Florists and Gifts, Fontaine Forestry and Millwork, Green Mountain Mulch, Fecto Homes, Salvador and Babic, the Central Vermont Chamber of Commerce, Barry Area Development, FGB Theaters, Gustos, CW Creative, Vermont Custom Woodworking, ASB Financial here at 185 North Main Street in Barry, where our studios are, the Barry Montpelier Times Argus, Donnybrook Fight Promotion, Wood Doodles, Wright Electric, Gauthier's Quality Grounds and Maintenance, Preston's Kia, Granite City MMA, and Barslow Construction. Thank you ever so much. Don't forget tomorrow, Lonnie Wade Fishing Derby. We're going to be chatting with some of the organizers at around 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Tom Lozon stops by on Thursday morning. We're going to be talking taxes, of course, and how busy they are over at Salvador and Babic. We got some more great shows coming your way. Thanks for catching this one. We appreciate your eyes and your ears. Make sure if you like the podcast, tell your friends, follow the page, click like and comment, and as always, do share. Thanks, everybody. God bless.